Shalom, y'all. Let me cut this back on. 1 second. Let me share this again. All right. We back. Sorry about that. What was we at? Acts 24.
Yeah.
Read verse 26 again.
The book of Acts, chapter 24 and verse 26. He hoped also that money should have been given him of Paul, that he might loose him. Wherefore he sent for him the oftener and communed with him.
So as you read about, this instance where you have Paul in this situation of being righteous, you see as you continue to have these conversations, nothing really changes. It's the same reason why we telling folks, listen, there's going to be a time when the nations will follow the laws of God, that they're going to have to do so forcefully. It's the same thing we always joking about all the time. When you tell a Chinese man to stop cooking dog, or to stop grabbing anything that they can and eating it, tell them to start keeping the Sabbath. That stuff is not going to work. It's going to work when the Lord get on the scene. So this is the reason why we keep asking the question. Listen, your justice that you want, and it's sad because I'm not going to say I didn't want these devils arrested, but part of me, you start to look at these things as these people get arrested, our people go deeper and deeper into sleep. Because then they start looking at, the justice system does work. Now, mind you, this person, this cop, has been brought up on charges. They brought him up on 3rd-degree murder, then manslaughter. They've now upped it from all the outpouring and all the riots and stuff that are going on. They've moved it up to 2nd-degree murder. And everybody in our people are sitting back and being like, it's not going to mean anything until they're all arrested. Now they've charged all the police officers that were there. Do you consider that justice? Why not 1st-degree murder? Why isn't it? Why ain't it premeditated? He hurt him. He's watching him die. He didn't change anything. It's on video. Why are so-called blacks and Hispanics comfortable with 2nd-degree murder? Why? At one point, I'm sure they were comfortable with 3rd-degree. As long as he gets arrested, now they're waiting for a conviction. Well, let's say he gets off. Then what? You gonna go right back to the same people voting in your local, your county officials, the little local government to get changes going on? Mm-hmm. It's the same reason why you had Amber Geiger getting her hair stroked by Jake, a sister that's in there. All this stuff happening. The brother that's still alive from his brother that being killed, he go hug her. Don't put her in prison. This same mentality keep going on and over and over and over again, and it don't make no sense. Pull up that first the article I gave you.
Now they saying that the autopsy came back and he tested positive for COVID-19.
For COVID.
So you know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say the pressure that was applied to his neck didn't cause him to die. It was his upper respiratory system that failed him due to COVID, which is why he couldn't breathe, and not the pressure applied to his neck.
Now this is
that's Esau for you.
Just the Facebook webpage.
Hold on, I want y'all to see this. I'm trying to pull this up now.
Esau gonna tell you it take a certain square pounds per pressure to cut off air circulation right. from your lungs to your through your mouth. They're gonna say the amount of pressure that was applied, the amount of pressure that was applied was way below the amount of pressure that it takes to cut off your air circulation. They gonna blame it on COVID.
And Israel believe it.
And and the office gonna get off free.
So it's amazing. It's not, because again this still ain't this. Aubrey was how long ago? 2 months ago.
2 months.
What? Nothing can even be. It can't even be. You can't even let that settle before something else pops up. Yet and still, they'll sit back. Our people sit back and they look at the system and be like, "We're just waiting for them." It's the article right there at the bottom. At the bottom. Yeah.
And Jake, Counselor Jake told me this morning. He said the same attorney that's on the other cases
Is on this one too.
Is on this one.
I thought his face looked familiar because Elder had pointed that out a little while back, couple Sabbaths ago.
This dude like on 4 high profile cases. This dude.
All right, so it says George Floyd's family lawyer slams local autopsy. Now, scroll down. Daggone devils, man. Keep going.
This man ain't got a liquor face there.
Stop right there. It says the attorney for George Floyd's family slammed the local medical examiner's findings that detailed fentanyl in Floyd's system, calling it an attempt to assassinate the man's character. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office on Monday announced it had classified Floyd's death a homicide, ruling his heart stopped when police compressed his neck in the widely viewed video of Floyd's arrest. But the office also noted, quote, other significant conditions. In its report listing heart disease, fentanyl intoxication, and recent methamphetamine use. Go down. And this is the same, and y'all, people going to be real comfortable. They're starting to ease off now. Our people are starting to ease off because, one, they called for an arrest. We knew it already. I put this up on Facebook, I think it was a week ago, about how we know what's coming next. The same thing that's going to pop up over and over again. They're going to cry for justice, then they're going to pop up, or they arrested him. And then our people start to get complacent over and over again because they look at the same justice system that they complain about 24/7. They now, for some reason, since they see somebody get arrested, I see change coming. It shows those findings weren't listed under the cause of death, but Benjamin Crump, the family lawyer, on Tuesday called the toxicology results a red herring and said it was distracting from the fact the officers kneeling on his neck and lungs caused Floyd's death. Now scroll down to the Twitter post he put up. All right, now check this out. Preliminary findings from independent autopsy of George Floyd's body conducted by Dr. Michael Baden and Dr. Alicia Wilson on May 31st. Synoptic findings of the independent medical examinations by Dr. Michael, Dr. Alicia of George Floyd. These are the following results that they found now as they took and did their own separate autopsy. Now Esau puts it out there like they didn't put it under the fentanyl, the methamphetamine use. Wasn't necessarily under the circumstance of them being a direct result of him dying, which we all know because we got video. But they're going to put it there to mess up this man's character. What else is new? They keep doing this over and over and over again.
Right.
Scroll down to the bullet points. Keep going. Right there. Scroll up just a little bit. Right there. Condition. You're good. Condition of the body included hemorrhage. This is what the independent autopsy found. Hemorrhage over the vertebral bodies and in the cervical region was found. Hemorrhage on the outside of the carotid artery at the level of the C3, C4, and C5 was found. Hemorrhage in his wrist and forearm was found. Lungs not congested or infected. No issues with the liver, the spleen, the intestines, and kidneys. Findings, under the heading of findings related to cause of death, he died from asphyxia due to neck and back pressure. Pressure on the neck and back interfered with his breathing and blood flow to the brain. Weight on the back, handcuffs, and positioning were contributory factors because they impaired the ability to breathe. George Floyd died at the scene. No other obvious cause of death. The cause of death is consistent with what we see in the video. No other cause of death is present in the autopsy.
Yo, you know what? No issues with liver, spleen, intestine, kidneys, lungs, not congested or infected. So what that mean for that?
Well,
I'm saying black market. These organs.
Oh yeah, good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because that always happens
They
too.
make sure they listed all these things. It's a healthy body.
Our people always pop up.
These things can be used now.
What was that brother in Georgia that was rolled up in that mat when they found him and his organs was gone?
Yeah.
Kid that was in high school.
Oh, they tested all of that.
The devil, this is the same, is as great as the Most High made Israel, is as great as the Most High made this devil to carry out this work because our people won't listen. So, you read all these different things. The last 2 bullet points, later information will not change cause of death, but will be informative. The toxicology findings are helpful in understanding the circumstances of death, but are not a cause or contributing cause of death. So, why is it that you get an independent autopsy done? It completely obliterates the regular one that was done by the hospitals. Yet, and still, as all this stuff continues to transpire, I go on Facebook, what do I see on the timeline? Well, I'm not going to let some wicked white people damage all the reputation of the great white people I know. Over and over and over again, the Most High putting this on heavy display to be able to show our people, listen, I never put you guys together. I never said that you were supposed to hold hands. I never made this to work. It's just like you look at the Most High calls us beasts, right? People consider all of us to be human beings. Why can't a human be with another human? Well, a lion... No, you good. You can come back to us. You look at the beasts of the animal kingdom. A lion's an animal, isn't it? Lions don't just mate with elephants. They are animals. But our people will do the same thing. We're humans. We should be able to come together and we're all our white brothers and our black brothers holding hands and all that BS. You had something?
Yeah.
Where you at?
Sirach 13, start at verse 15. Let's go with exactly what you were saying. Man, the Most High cover everything.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 13 and verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
So, just like Minister Ezra was saying, you don't see a lion trying to run around and be with a tiger, a panther trying to be with a jaguar. Every beast loveth his own kind and his neighbor. You don't see lions hanging out with other felines. He only loveth his neighbor, other lions. Which also shows you that when it says love thy neighbor, it's only talking about Israelites.
Right.
It ain't talking about everybody else. Read.
Verse 16. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like.
So whenever you see all flesh assorted to his kind, when you read in the epistles, 1 Corinthians 15, it tells you about different types of flesh.
Right.
You got flesh for man, flesh for beast, fowls, so forth and so on. Whenever you see whenever you seen a goldfish trying to go with a shark, or keep company with a piranha.
I think we freezing.
No, we're good over there.
Oh, okay. Verse 17. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb?
What fellowship have a wolf with a lamb? Y'all know Esau the wolf. You know how these people get down, but you still, well, all of them not bad. But like I said earlier, the same people are pick and choose and say which white people not good or bad. You'll turn around and hate your brother because he got on the red and you got on blue. Or he got on black and you got on gold.
I'm sorry, what verse y'all at?
Verse 17. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly.
So the sinner with the godly, read.
And it makes you perfect sense of why you would think, why are you using a wolf and a lamb? And wolf in sheep's clothing? Lamb, didn't do this by accident.
Right.
Verse 18. What agreement is there between a hyena and a dog?
Man, what is the agreement between a hyena and a dog? Some people say both of them in the dog family. A wolf in the dog family. You even have people tell you that all dogs come from wolves. But what agreement do they have together? A hyena will destroy a dog, man. You take your baddest pet ever. A hyena will rip that dog to shreds.
Yeah, he don't say that's my brother.
Right.
My dog brother.
Right.
What agreement is there between the hyena and the dog?
What agreement is there between them two, Reed?
And what peace between the rich and the poor?
What peace between the rich and the poor? When you look at America, it's between the rich and the poor. Between the rich and the poor. These people have stolen something from you that you need to take back. Your heritage, man. They have taken everything from you. But you instead of making agreements with the wolf. Read verse 19.
Verse 19. As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor.
As a wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness. What the scriptures tell you? It say be sober-minded. Because Satan, your adversary, is going to and fro as a lion, looking to devour. We in the wilderness right now. We're going to go to the wilderness when the Lord come back, but you in a form of wilderness right now. You without the Lord. You outside of your land. You don't know your heritage. You don't know where you come from. You don't know your culture. But you still trying to be friends with the wolf.
You want me to keep reading?
No, that's it.
Okay. Let's go to Ecclesiastes.
Okay.
I think it's chapter 10.
Mm-hmm.
Read verse 8.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 8. He that diggeth a pit shall fall into it, and whoso breaketh an hedge, a serpent shall bite him.
So you look at who that diggeth a pit shall fall into it. You look at some folks might not understand. Real quick, Revelation chapter 17. Verse 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
Go ahead.
And go into perdition.
Go ahead.
And they shall dwell on the earth. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
So you reading about the reassertion of Rome, the people of Rome reasserting themselves on the earth. We understand that Esau is in that pit. Scriptures tell you about digging that pit. You breaking the hedge apart.
Right.
You yourself are setting. Our people, that's why I always say all the time, the Lord is sitting back and just handing out shovels. Whoever wants to dig their own grave, go ahead. The Lord not going to put you in there. You want to keep doing it to yourself. We're dragging our own people down over and over and over again. And our people won't learn nothing. That beast has to go into perdition. It's the same thing you read in 2 Thessalonians. The person that sits himself up to be God is talking about Esau. That son of perdition, he's got to be revealed. This is happening now. And it's as plain as day. It's as plain as you can make it. Yet still a lot of our people can't see it. They still consider them, or our white brothers are standing together with our people. It don't make no sense. We're not going to be able to come out of no situation. That's what we were reading earlier about Hannah. She understood. She understood that help is only going to come from him. From the Lord, that's it. You're not going to continue to look at your oppressor and be like, help me, please. He's not going to do that. I want you, because to pay attention, just because somebody is out there is speaking to you and saying some nice words to you, none of that stuff matters. None of it matters. Go to Sirach 12. Yeah.
So you got crazy Jakes talking about we gotta love Esau, he's our brother. And the most I say he hate that man.
This is the crux of our situation. Because our people can't get out of their own way.
Man.
Ever. It's always, but this person has done this for me. This person brought me a fruitcake. when somebody in my family died. This person was here for me when this happened. Nobody cares what you think is what the Lord says. Thus saith the Lord. That's it. That's it. The Lord said when you dig in a pit, you're going to fall into it. That person that's in the pit with you is Esau. And that destroys the hedge. Therefore, the serpent is going to bite you. Read verse 10.
The book of Ecclesiastes. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
This isn't a message that's, if you want to trust him, go ahead. That's not what it's saying. The Lord telling you don't deal with him. Don't deal with him. You read many times in Maccabees where they shook in hands with the devil, and it always comes back to bite our people over and over again. Nothing's ever changed. People talking about civil rights and Martin Luther King and all these other things. You analyze what has changed between our people and the other nations. We're still getting killed, still being attacked by dogs, still being hung on trees, still being attacked by cops. It's the same thing over and over again. But our people will sit back and want to be so emotional and hold hands with everybody over and over and over again. When the other nations knowing doggone well if we did that to them, they rebel. They cut out their little section in the development and be like, y'all don't come over here. Not our people. Go ahead.
Bro, it can be if it was a black cop and a white man told you he was allergic to silver or metal or whatever the handcuffs made out of, and you put the handcuffs on that man and he died, and they say, and they got it on tape that this man told you that he allergic to silver or metal, bro, you as a black officer, just you like, I was doing my job, they're gonna be like, well, sir, he told you he was allergic to that type of metal. Bro, you going to jail if they don't kill you first.
It's a joke, man. Our people come up with any type of excuse, man, and it's not even some type of crafty thing anymore. It's just so obvious. That's why you sit back and you just kind of analyze the things that you see on TV and it's like, what are you talking? What are you doing? Over and over again, you saying the same thing. They got every excuse in the book not to give you. I seen a post earlier. The same devil woman that put up that post about LeBron shut up and dribble. The same crap that just came out with Drew Brees. She was like, well, everybody got to have their own opinion. Both of them playing sports. What's the difference? One's a devil, one's an Israelite. They don't want to hear that, man.
She gonna take up for her people.
Stop with this person's bad and this one's good. Stop with that garbage, man. Go ahead.
The Bible just told you every beast assorted to his own kind. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him.
Though he put that BLM shirt on, you got them little signs standing next to you with his little COVID mask, and y'all look to blend in together. Be mindful of the person that's sitting next to you. Why? We're gonna get to the point. Why? Go ahead.
Bro, I work downtown Richmond. It's so many Edomites there. It's so many Edomites, so-called white people, Esau, Idumean, Frankomites, whatever you want to call them. It's so many white people that own business downtown that are putting minority owned. My business owned by minority on their window because they do not want people to break in their building. Like Officer Belton always say, everybody want to be a nigga, but don't nobody want to be a nigga. I have clearly seen, I know for a fact that even you got Jewish people that own businesses. Talking about minority owned. Bruh.
Technically, they're right. They are the minority.
I mean, they small among the heathen.
Yeah, they're small. Greatly despised. That's Esau for you, man. But it's always they opportunistic, man. You can't blame them. They taking advantage of the system. Our people can't get it together though.
It's some white dude probably just became a millionaire if I can't breed shirts.
Yes, that's why I said, but somebody getting paid off that, man. The more people that die, the more money people make. It's the same thing with warfare.
Franklin had one on.
Who?
Kirk Franklin.
Man, I have feminine Kirk Franklin. Just like a lady. These guys is pathetic, man. Israel just should be ashamed of themselves, man. Don't he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
All right, it's impossible. That wickedness still going to be there. It's based on this foundation. Why? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither Let him sit at thy right hand.
And that, don't let him. We know that Christ sits at the right hand. That's how much a lot of our people trust the white man. They let him sit there. He's the best friend. He's the one that does all these things. You will be quicker to lash out at your own family member or somebody look like you than you would a Edomite. Don't let him sit at your right hand. Go ahead.
Lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith.
And at the last, you start to remember the same things that somebody been telling you. Oh man, I thought he was my best friend until this happened. This happened, and why you keep asking me all these weird questions? Why you think he the devil? Esau is the thing that's wrong with creation. He's the problem. He's the enemy of creation. Why you think it's normal for him to be here?
Right.
You guys want to fit him in everything and just be holding hands and lovey-dovey with all these people. And you see this thing play out over and over again on the highest stage, and the Most High is showing you, pulling no punches. I'm showing you every way possible that this man, you guys are not supposed to come together.
Right.
I'm showing you everything I can to separate y'all, yet and still you finding yourself fighting against God. You're not going to win that battle. You're not going to win. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent?
If Esau is a serpent or the devil, the same spirit that was in the garden, the Lord's asking the question, who's going to pity a charmer? The one that wants to go around and take a little flute and see if he can make the snake dance? Who's going to feel sorry for him when he get bit? Go ahead.
Or any such as come nigh wild beasts. So one that goeth to a sinner.
It's the same way as you go to a sinner. Go ahead.
And is defiled with him in his sins. Who will pity?
So who gonna feel? Why would somebody feel sorry for you if you keep asking for it? The Lord's asking who wants hellacious judgment. Israel keep raising their hand. Then you want to complain and be like, why I keep getting hit this way? It's because Israel don't want the solution we trying to give them. It's the only one, but they don't want it. They'll make any excuse in the book. Now we're setting this thing up and showing you, listen, as you continue to be in this system, you want to stay in America, and your number one dream that you have, that you hold so dear to, is that you just want to live here in peace. You realize that that's impossible. That's an impossible outcome for the place that you live at. The people that live here do not want any peace for you. That is not going to happen. They look at you as less than human. Anybody, you folks that's watching these videos, start paying attention to your surroundings. Not like I'm speaking something that's foreign language to you. I'm not saying something that's rocket science. You seeing it everywhere, and the Most High is showing you openly.
Come on, but, pull something.
Nah, go ahead.
Hey, Bell, to go to that book I sent you.
Read verse 16.
Verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw thee into a pit.
He imagines in his mind how to overthrow you. Now, I want you to, why would this be? If you see somebody that's a so-called Edomite or Moabite or whatever, and they're on the street with you, they're pushing the same cause that you're pushing. Why would that person in their mind think to overthrow you? Because the way that they're rooted and the way that they're built is the same foundation off of America is built. They have that same mentality. It's the same reason why you only see them speaking out when something is on the forefront like this. Go ahead.
He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
Verse 17.
Verse 17. If adversaries come upon thee,
If adversity come upon
if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find them there first.
they will find him there first. Go ahead.
And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee.
He shall undermine you. Regardless of what you think and what you feel, the things that's being put in place, it doesn't even matter if he comes to try to help you, quote unquote. They're doing chaos and throwing bricks and hiding their hand, and then the cops come after you again. It's still the same thing. They want to mix themselves among you and call you their friend and love you, and I stand out, and all these people that are celebrities coming out to support this, all these different things. Where was they at when you asked him, can you please return the stuff that all your forefathers stole from mine? Can you please return that stuff? The land that you took and all the opportunities that you've had since y'all have stolen and robbed this place, can you please return those things? Where are they at then?
This joint.
Yeah, on page 297, the first picture.
Go ahead, pull it up when you're ready, brother.
Let's show you show the cover of the book first so they know what we're reading from.
Yeah, this joint don't freeze the hell up.
But it go back to what you were saying earlier about they waiting to overthrow you. You'll never get equality, so to speak. You'll always be looked at as 3/5 of a man or a human or a person. Because the whole purpose of you coming to America, you were never meant to be free.
Of course not. Just keep reaching for the Constitution like it's something great.
Right.
Benjamin Franklin, Shannon Sharp said that. Benjamin Franklin said it best. Out of all the crying and the outpouring he doing at the end of his diatribe, he pops out, well, Benjamin Franklin said it best. The people don't understand justice. I'm like, why are you quoting a slave master?
Like a Jake ain't never said
It's
nothing.
ridiculous, man.
So on page this is the book called Lies Across America, what our historic sites get wrong. So essentially what he's saying is they'll put up the founding fathers and tell you these great stories about them. Well, this book will tell you that them men was slave owners, they was rapists, they was murderers. So it's giving you some historical facts about certain events and statues and things that Americans hold near and dear to their heart.
Near and dear to their heart.
Page 297. So I'm gonna start at the
This it?
yeah, this it.
Virginia Appomattox?
Yeah, Virginia Appomattox. So you been to Virginia, been to the Appomattox. When we ride past there, Jakes, we just look at that junk. The first thing that many brothers have said that, man, all people used to have to travel through that, fleeing massa. I'm gonna just read the highlighted part for sake of time. They say we might being with defense of principles being fundamental. 3 weeks before the Confederacy attacked Fort Sumter, Confederate Vice President Alexander Stevenson expounded our new government foundations are laid. His cornerstone rests upon the great truth now, that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery, subordination to the superior race is his natural and normal condition.
That's when America was great?
Yeah, that's what make America great again means.
That's the same thing you read about the history of the natives. When you had Edomites saying that the only purpose for them was to be slaves. That was what they were born to do.
Matter of fact,
complete flip side of it.
Type that name in. Alexander Stevenson. Vice President Alexander Stevenson. Expounded. So you can see
Vice President Alexander Stevenson?
yeah, AL
So sick of these people.
EXANDER.
They already knew.
What does it say?
What you want?
Descendant of demons.
Now just put up a picture. Go to images. Just back out a little bit too so they can see it. This the guy that said that. He looked like he looked.
Looking like he get knocked out.
Yeah. he looked like he hated niggas. This the man that said that your rightful place as a black in America is to be a slave. Look at that.
John.
This man couldn't fight off a fly. You got Jakes out there doing back-breaking work. Why they ain't going his jaw? You can easily overtake this man. But the scriptures gonna come true. The Most High said ain't gonna be no might in your hand. This man said that the Negro rightful place is to be a slave under the white man. You was never meant to be free. Nowadays you want to fight for equality. Why are you trying to fight for equality? For one, first of all, the Most High already said you the greatest thing on the face of the earth. For two, why would you want to be equal to somebody like that think like that?
Imagine getting his lunch or picking up stuff for this dude.
Man, this dude look like one of those dummies stick your hand up there behind and move his mouth. What is called?
A little ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, ventriloquist. That's what this man look like, a ventriloquist dummy, man. He got the nerve to say that the Negro rightful place is to be slaves. And you got people running around with the flag, crying.
That dude, what was that video you seen? That brother that was, I don't know, he could have been a Hamite, but nonetheless, it's still embarrassing for somebody that have the complexion of him be only one in the crowd fighting all the other Emites to burn the flag. Talking about, I'm proud, don't burn that thing. A lot of people fought for this thing. He the only one in the crowd looking like a Jake trying to fight off the other devils to burn the flag. This stuff comical as it get. Go to Isaiah 1. Let's read verse 22.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and verse 22. Thy silver is become dross.
The silver has become... Remember we was talking about the same thing in the house, that great house. Mm-hmm. You have these good vessels, right? You're supposed to purge yourself of the things that are lesser in the house. Things that are useless, do something else to make yourself valuable. But what?
Thy silver is become dross.
But the silver, the Israelites, you have become dross. Everything that you're supposed to be worth something, you become dross, worthless. Go ahead.
Thine wine mixed with water.
So it's the same thing with the doctrine. It's the same thing with us. Everything's watered down now. I've seen this quote the other day that said, if you dance with the devil, don't all of a sudden get surprised if you can't pick the tune. Y'all want to continue to walk around with them and then get so upset when they don't find you to look at them as equal to you. When, like Ahnab had just mentioned, that's not the case. You are not equal. You're above everybody. But just like saying that and relaying that message to our people, they cringe at that. They hate to hear that. They just want to be equal. Just treat me like every other white man. When the white man treats you like his dog, or worse than.
Yeah, worse, because even here...
You bring him up on federal charges, you kill a police dog. Not no Jake, on camera. They don't care about none of that, man. This is the same thing we keep repeating over and over again, and that's why I said it gets to the point where this is just like, if you've been made a fool speaking Christ's words, because you got the only small section of people that's pushing this forth, the only ones that got wisdom on this planet, you look like a fool in this place. You spending all that time and effort trying to save your people, same thing the prophets did, and to no avail. It becomes disheartening to you just watching folks walk closer and closer to the fire. Yo, it's burning over there. Turn a different direction. Nah, I'm good. I got a bottle of water with me.
Right.
The whole house on fire, bro. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be okay. Jesus got me. You won't burn up. That's the same thing we keep saying. Jump over to chapter 9. And this is the number one thing that you can see as our people become, like the silver becomes dross and the wine is mixed with water. The number one thing that weakens us is that love. When other people step in and they say that they love you, they put their arm around you, our people fall for that hook, line, and sinker every single time. It don't even matter if he smacked you in your face. 2 seconds later, he says, I love you. That's what Christianity does. They just scriptures say to turn the other cheek. That's the same message we keep getting fed over and over again. When they say, listen, change is coming. When it's been centuries since our people have been hung on trees, they're still doing it now, nothing's changed. How much time do you need to change something? Your equality lifestyle or your bubble that you continue to live in is not coming. It's not coming. Isaiah 9, time's sake. Let's jump down to just read verse 11.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 11. Therefore the Lord shall set up the adversaries of Rezin against him, and join his enemies together. Verse 12. The Syrians before, and the Philistines behind.
The Syrians before and the Philistines behind. Enemies everywhere. You enclosed in. Go ahead.
And they shall devour Israel with open mouth.
They shall devour this nation with an open mouth. Just insatiable. The only thing that they have that fulfills that appetite is to see you dead. That's it. There's no resolution with them. You can't work things out with the devil. It ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
For all this is anger is not turned away,
All these things have happened. His anger of the Lord is not turned away. Go ahead.
but his hand is stretched out still.
And the time is the transpiring for the Lord has got his hand wide open. I'm doing everything I can, short of me coming down and sitting in the sky and telling you, this is the way that you've been following is incorrect. The Lord's been doing everything he can. Yet and still, even if Christ were to come out the sky and sit there and give you the message, he'll leave and you still be committing sin. It don't matter. Jump down to verse 14.
The book of Isaiah,
Get ready to pull that last video
chapter
up.
9 and verse 14. Therefore, the Lord will cut off from Israel head and tail,
Head and tail. Go ahead.
branch and rush in one day.
Go ahead.
The ancient and honorable, he is the head.
The ancient and honorable, he is the head. Go ahead.
And the prophet that teacheth lies, he is the tail.
And the prophet that teaches lies, he is the tail. Lord said, I'm getting rid of everybody. Everybody. Go ahead.
For the leaders of this people cause them to err.
For the leaders of this people cause them to err. And by de facto, our leaders have become the people that have the most fame. The ones that are on TV all the time. The snake Al Sharpton pops up whenever he wants. In a time that he can look at something to be opportunistic in a person's death, he pops up. A lot of these people, that's how they operate. Our people do it, and they watch this thing over and over and over again. Jay-Z pops up. LeBron puts a message out there. What's that?
Appreciate it.
LeBron puts a message out there. Jay-Z pops up. You got the same message that Colin Kaepernick had said, I don't know how long ago. They hated this man. They couldn't stand him and will not give this man a job. But yet and still, the NFL puts an image up and says, we're fighting for you. We understand that the things that you're going for, and in Israel fall for it over and over and over again.
Back his job now.
Hook, line, and sinker. What's the point? Ain't no point in him getting no job back. It's a joke, man. It's a joke. Meanwhile, Jay-Z talking about, they said Jay-Z called up the governor of Minneapolis demanding justice. Who are you, Negro? Nobody care about your Reasonable Doubt album. Who are you? You was the one a few months ago sitting in the little boardroom with Roger Goodell looking like a pawn, talking about we need to move past kneeling. Now everybody wants to circle again and then bring up Colin Kaepernick. Well, if we understand, Stephen A. Smith did the same thing. Now you understand what Colin Kaepernick, you were saying the same thing.
He was the main one against him.
Just shut up, stop wearing the shirt, and then just go out there and play. All these people, man, our people, it's pathetic, man. You looking at the people that's supposed to be leading and the ones that have their voice that can be heard above everything else, y'all a joke, man. It's pathetic that you see our people in this same mindset over and over again. And the people that's supposed to have the influence, the money, and the power to change things ain't saying a damn thing. All the people that have all the money to change these things, it's a joke. It's pathetic. Y'all the ones that's making rap albums saying how hard you are and all this other thing, talking about how you tough and only people in the NFL are worthy of the gridiron and we knocking people's heads off. You got to be tough to be in this league. Yet and still, when something happen with your people, you won't stand up and say nothing. Y'all pathetic as hell, man. It's sad as you watch our people over and over again line up with the white man and do this same thing, this same song and dance like a pathetic coon over and over and over again. Read the next verse.
Have a dude Ray Lewis size crying on his
He
knees.
crying when the flag come out. This is the national anthem. You got that devil Drew Brees talking about, I never respect a man that kneel for the flag. And all of a sudden he get all this backlash. Then 7 hours later he take the thing down, want to apologize. Somebody put up a picture with a so-called black man and a white man holding hands together. After he had teammates come out against him, his wide receiver talking about, we don't care what you believe. That's his wide receiver. Some people getting fed up.
Leave it in his heart, though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He said, my forefathers fought in the World War II. Well, so-called black man fought in World War II. Why didn't you comment on that? They still get treated like crap when they got back.
Got killed.
Nobody care about that, man. Y'all stop being so pathetic and weak. None of us got no money. None of us got no influence out here. You got it. Stand up and fight for your own nation, man. Everybody else doing it. White men come in and subvert and change everything. It's not about death. You disrespecting the flag. It's not about this. It's about he had weed in the system. Like still playing that song and dance game. And even when Drew Brees said that, you still had Jakes come out. LeBron criticized him at the end of the message. God bless you, Drew Brees. Other Jakes come out talking about, well, he don't know enough. I know he's not that like that person. I know him personally. He the devil personally. We know him. The same thing that he spit off in that little rant is the same way he is. Read the next verse. Verse 17.
Verse 17. Therefore the Lord shall have no joy in their young men, neither shall he have mercy on the fatherless and widows. For everyone is an hypocrite.
Everyone is a hypocrite. Go ahead.
An evildoer, and every mouth speaketh folly. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still.
So it's still the same thing. All these people claiming this love and all these different things. Pull up that last video.
That's why the Lord said, yet I will choose Jacob.
This song's getting ridiculous, man. It get ridiculous. You sitting back and you seeing this thing over and over again, and you looking at our people like, what you doing? You still fighting for them? You still want to hold hands with them? Well, I love everybody. I'm not about segregation. I love everybody. Nobody was out there fighting for you. Those are the same people that claim that they're out there when the message is going forth about Black Lives Matter. But after that dies down, they'll go right back to the polls and vote for Trump. Well, I disagree with the little racist comments he was making, but he done good for black people. He signed a stimulus check to give you $1,200. Hook, line, and sinker. People line right back up with it. Well, Trump 4 more years. Over and over again. The Lord sitting back like, this nation ridiculous, man.
That man Trump said, what the hell do you have to lose?
You're not black if you don't vote.
Yeah. It's just, man, it's a joke and it's comical. And you're sitting back like, can you do something else? Can you just not go to the polls and vote? Is all of a sudden life gonna come to a halt? I promise you're not gonna get high blood pressure or you're not gonna have kidney failure if you stop being a coon. It's not gonna happen. Just change something that you've been doing the same process over and over again. You're looking crazy out here. Do something else. Vote in the local polls. I got family doing that stuff. Putting a little post up, and y'all be the same people. I'm keeping an eye out for the same Facebook profiles that's going to be putting up 4th of July. I'm writing names down, keeping and looking at these things, and the same people that's going to be putting that out there. We'll celebrate independence with a Jake behind you hanging on a tree.
It's a video you want me to?
Yeah.
Is it on Facebook? Oh, okay.
No, CMS and go up. Right there, that clown. Y'all watch this.
The only reason we're here is to make sure that you got. The only reason we're here is to make sure that you got a voice. That's it. There we go. Don't think for a second that he represents who these cops are from all over the county and around this nation. We go out there to help people, not do that nonsense. There we go. Where's my man? Right there. Where's the gentleman?
Oh, I think he took off.
Yeah, my man.
He took off.
Pastor Hawkins, see, I was going to tell you. We want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. I want to make this a parade, not a protest. You got little ones here, you got dogs, so what's up? So listen, I'm just telling you, these cops love you. That cop over there hugs people, so you tell us what you need to do.
Walk with us! 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 Walk with us!
Let's walk! Let's walk!
Freaking clown.
They can hear you.
This joke, man, that's what I'm saying, man. You sit back, you look at this foolishness, man. If you don't, if you don't apply some type of patience in this truth, you be ready to flip out, man. This joke is ridiculous, man. It's beating your head against the wall over and over again.
They don't want their city told. That's what it is.
Man, yo, let's come back to us. Let's go to Matthew. Just gotta wrap this up. Matthew 12.
Trying to calm the niggers down. Pacify them. Matthew 12.
Yeah, start at verse 24.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 24. But when the Pharisees heard it, they said, This fellow doth not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils.
So you had a dumb spirit, a devil spirit that came in the midst of Christ. Christ called it out of that person. Seen him get cleared up. That person was clear from that moment. Just like Israel, Pharisees come up and say, that ain't God. He using Satan to remove the demon. Go ahead. Y'all notice part of this story. Y'all have heard this before. Go ahead.
And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. And every city or house divided against itself shall not stand.
This makes perfect sense. It's the same reason why y'all complain and stand on one side and vote Democrat and Republican. And for some odd reason, America never falls. Even though they hate each other, even though the policies are against each other, America keeps thriving on. Interesting. The Lord said, if the house is divided against itself, it's not going to stand. Go ahead. So y'all got the same agenda, right? Go ahead.
If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself.
Mm-hmm.
How shall then his kingdom stand?
So that makes perfect sense. If Satan was against Satan, how is it going to stand? You're defeating the purpose. Go ahead.
And if I by Beelzebub cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out?
Go ahead.
Therefore, they shall be your judges.
Therefore, they shall be your judges. So what works you doing? The same demonic stuff that you saying that Christ is doing. How you casting out these things? How you operating? If somebody get healed on your watch, what spirit did you use? It's the same thing he's asking. Now, if you look at the white man himself, that's why I said, is Satan. He is the physical representation of the demon walking the earth. Now, if Satan, the white man, is out there with you with Black Lives Matter, he's fighting against the police that are also Satan. How that gonna work? When that demonic cop goes home, he gonna cast his vote for Trump or Hillary or whoever else you want to put in office. The agenda's still the same. When those white people leave the street from holding your hand and fighting beside you, they're gonna go home and they still gonna love America. They're rooted in the same situation. It does not matter. They're all on the same side. You guys stop fooling yourselves and believing that just because you're holding hands with them, they're with your cause. They're not. They're out there undermining everything that you're doing. I don't care if they smile in your face. They love America at the end of the day because they'll tell you that the cops that are killing black people are not out there against America. No, they're not. They're with America. That's how this place was established. America hates our people. So the white person that's out there holding your hand and talking about they're your best friend and we're going to stand together, they're against you. The cop that's out there kneeling on your neck, they're against you. One's doing it physically, one still supports the system. It doesn't matter. They're not going to tear this thing down. Christ is tearing this thing down. Go ahead.
Verse 28. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God,
If I can cast out devils by the Spirit of God, go ahead.
then the kingdom of God is come unto you.
Now you see that the kingdom's working now. Christ has come out and bound this place. These things, or these demonic spirits, are leaving now. All this thing is starting to fall apart. If that's happening by the words that people are speaking, then you know the kingdom is before you. Go ahead.
Or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house?
Go ahead.
Verse 30. He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad.
So we're at the point now. We've been here. I don't care I'm tired of people's feelings and emotions and you talking about, oh, I love Christ. No, you don't. You're not following no commandments. You hate the Lord. It is what it is. Stop with the sympathetic emotions and I love this and I love that. At the end of the day, you're not supporting the Bible. Christ said, if you don't follow me, you calling me Lord, but you're not doing anything I'm saying. If you're not with me, then you're scattering people abroad. You're about America. That's what you love. Don't go out there and fight against the system. Keep your 4th of July. Keep Christmas. That's what you love anyway. You don't want this system torn down. A lot of our people out there fighting, they want justice. You're not going to get justice from the devil. It's not going to happen. Don't get upset if you're doing this circle dance with him year round and get upset when he shows himself to be the devil. You got to stop with these emotions, man.
How can you get justice from somebody that's injustice?
That don't make no sense.
The whole system is flawed.
Same thing we was reading Acts. He wanted money to let you loose. He cared about none of that. He trembled a little bit when he heard about the judgment.
Right.
Bypass that, go right back to the same spirit. Exodus, Deuteronomy chapter 4. We know that Christ is the bondman. You see that spirit coming out of these people. It's the same. It's just the word of God bound in this place. That devil, that demon that's the prince of the power of the air is being cast out. He's gotten victory over that. It's the same thing that we're doing. The words that Israel's speaking, and listen, you brothers that's on the street, man, of course it's been said a lot of times, but I commend y'all brothers and sisters that's in the truth. You keep doing what you're doing. Regardless of what this system's saying and the things that people say and your family can't stand you and all this other crap, they're the same ones that's keeping this system going and perpetuating the evil that's going on here, man. Y'all are fighting for this cause to tear this wicked place down the best way you can. Keep pushing it. Don't feel faint of heart. Don't look at people or feel some type of way when people look at you differently. Don't care about none of that. Keep doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, this place is going to burn. It's going to burn. Lord's will we make it through it. Everybody else, you still praying for family that don't see it now, because again, we was all in that position at one point. There was somebody on the street speaking that we were the Israelites, and none of us believed it. None of us even understood it. The time came for us, and the Most High put the Spirit on us to understand. Lord's will they come around. If they don't, some people, the Lord has that house of honors, vessels of honor and dishonor. Nonetheless, your cousin, your dad, your brother, whatever it is, you love them. Don't love them more than you love the Most High. Go ahead. Verse 32.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 32. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that God created man upon earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other.
Go anywhere. This is a true statement. Go anywhere on the earth. Go ahead.
Whether hath been any such thing as this great thing is, or hath been heard like it.
Everywhere you go, everybody can tell you the story. Well, I know Moses, they split the Red Sea. Everybody know about that. You go anywhere and you search the days of old, what great thing has anybody else heard that's above this thing? Everybody knows this story. I don't care if they believe it, they heard it. Go ahead.
Did ever people hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire? Or as thou hast heard and lived?
Has anybody been given these words? The same thing that happened to Moses, these things coming out of the fire and live, these trials and tribulations. Let's say if this happened to some other nation. They ain't living through it. A white man lose $200 in his account, he go near the nearest bridge and jump off. Our people been through hell and back and still here. Yet they still trying to put their neck on you, and you killing yourselves, being right in league with them. Verse 34, this is the point.
Verse 34, had God assuaged,
has God decided, go ahead,
to go and take him a nation.
To take him a nation.
From the midst of another nation.
To take a nation from the midst of another nation. Go ahead.
By temptations.
By temptations.
By signs.
By signs.
And by wonders.
By wonders.
And by war.
And by war. This is the same thing that we're doing now. You seeing all this. This is the only thing that's happening. The Most High is establishing the house. That's it. Some people are not going to make it through the fire. Some people don't want it. They think the white man's going to put them around a little blanket and they're going to get through anything as long as they stick by the white man. That's how a lot of our people think. Go ahead.
And by a mighty hand, and by stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes.
This is spiritual Egypt, folks. The Most High is doing the exact same thing. All these signs and miracles that have hit Egypt is the same thing happening here. Now you see that spirit going throughout the earth. This ain't because somebody decided to care about black people all of a sudden. Where was everybody at all these years? The Most High is doing this. Speeding up the time, this thing is almost over. You better grab your seat or do what you can to grab your seat. Because you think this is bad. You got to stand before the Creator. It's a whole different situation. Next verse, verse 35.
Unto thee it was showed that thou mightest know that the Lord, he is God. There is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon earth he showed thee his great fire, and thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire.
So you've heard this. This is being put forth. Do what you can to get yourself together. Even folks that don't believe this, and folks that are in the truth, keep checking yourself, because our example is Christ. That's a whole lot to live up to. It's very difficult to live up to. Our best together is filthy rags. So do what you can in the midst of all this chaos. Use these examples to tell your people, listen, just step back and look at the chaos that's happening. Why is this happening? If they keep saying things like, we just want justice, and you're comfortable with an Edomite devil being on video, premeditated murder, killing somebody, and then you're comfortable with him getting second-degree murder, just get out of my face. We put this forth as many times as this message keep coming out. These people still want to hold fast to America and every single belief system behind it. They don't want to leave. They're comfortable captives here. Nobody wants to go back to their land. Nobody wants to have their own. They love America. You can't help people like that. Only thing that you can do is put forth the message, send up the prayers, and the Most High opens them up. John chapter 5, verse 39.
The book of St. John, chapter 5 and verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me.
So as we read the beginning, the conclusion, the Alpha, Omega, all this stuff is revolving around our Lord. The Most High has given us commandments. He's given us his Son, put forth it in clear detail. If you don't understand it, you got brothers speaking the word that can explain it to you. If you don't care or you don't want to reach out to somebody, shame on you. At the end of the day, the Most High is going to be pushing out more judgment, more judgment. Stop sitting back and acting like you are so appalled and surprised that our people are getting killed by the white man. It's the same old story. It's no different than something 200 years ago. It's no different than the Old Testament thousands of years ago. It's the same story. The Most High is putting his house together. You better look and make sure that you're useful to the master, or you're going to get tossed out the house. All this stuff is happening for the Most High to snatch this nation and clear us up from this other nation. We've been living under oppression all this time. Search the scriptures. All the answers are in here. You got to study to show yourself approved, all right? As always, I pray it helps somebody. We've been praying that some of these videos come across and help somebody. We know that the Most High's word don't go out void nonetheless, so it's a humbling experience to be able to be in these positions to just speak the Most High's words. These still ain't ours. We've been given the ability to utilize these things the best that we can to bring it out. Hopefully words fall upon somebody that was deaf and the Most High unstopped ears, that they can believe these things. But at the end of the day, everything that you're seeing in front of your face, all this stuff is playing out in the Bible. It's at the point now where it's so obvious. You can say whatever you want to say. We can read these things, and this book is coming true every single day. So make sure that you are checking yourself, because again, I mentioned, I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago, even though the judgment's going out on the earth, you want to keep playing games in the truth, the Most High will circle it right back to your door, and then you might be another statistic in the, on the news or whatever. So make sure that you're studying, you're showing yourself approved. Make yourself available to other brothers and sisters. If you have the means to help them, do so. This is the whole point of the gospel. Lord's will next week, y'all stay safe and stay praying for folks. Do not go out and protest and think that you're doing something, because all the judgment that's happening, rubber bullets flying around, them things can hit you because you put yourself in the midst of chaos. All right? Lord's will next week, y'all. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Shalom.